Welcome back to the Word Expanded, the Gospels edition. Listen, we're in Matthew 5, and we're talking about the Sermon on the Mount. We're going through it. We're going not verse by verse necessarily. We're talking about the ideas in each section, which is hard for me. We just had a good discussion, though, so I think I could tie it all in. We're in chapter 5, verse 27 through 30. The subtitle is Lust. Right? So we ought to have a lot to talk about in this. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery, but I say to you that everyone who looks at a cheeseburger with lustful intent, that's not what it says. It says everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery within his heart. Now listen, I think you should change it. Right? Again, I'm not promoting changing the Bible. I'm promoting making it fit what you have a problem with. So I suggest that you change it somewhat like the follow. You have heard it said, right, that you shall not, right, commit whatever it is that you struggle with. People pleasing in my part, right? You should not commit people pleasing, right? But I say to you that anyone who thinks about people pleasing with lustful intent has already committed adultery, right, in his heart. It's the concept of, listen, if I'm in a situation and all of a sudden my good friend Jason, says, Andy, we really got to do this. I really feel strongly we got to do this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But I like Jason and I don't want him to be mad at me. So, yep, Jason, we're going to go, right? We're going to do this, right? That is one thing, right? But if I'm knowing that I'm having a meeting with Jason and I'm worried because I know that he's going to present to me this great thing that we need to do, and I don't really feel called to do it, and I don't want to do it, but I start thinking about people pleasing. How can I do it? How can I do it in a way that I would like it? How can I do it in a way that it would be okay? Or how can I tell Jason no in a way that he's still going to like me? And all of these things, right? I'm already doing bad things in my head, right? I got my head all screwed up. With the honorable thing for Jason is to say what? No. The honorable thing is like, hey, that might be a calling for you, right? That might be something that God has on your heart, but he doesn't have it on my heart. Super hard for me. I want to team up with everybody, right? The problem is, I've been talking about it in simple truth. Some people, right, I'm not knit together like that. Some people I just simply have to be a fan of. Go, yay, go team, go, right? But some people, it's not that way, right? But we need to think. God says, you got to change your thinking, right? You got to change your thinking about things. So we start looking at stuff and start saying, if I'm spending 3 hours before a 1 hour meeting, right, being in turmoil about having to have a conversation with somebody, I'm already in trouble. I'm already in deep trouble. I don't have time to have 3 hour thought processes before a 1 minute conversation. I've been having this conversation a lot lately. If you're afraid to tell somebody something because of their reaction, right, there's a problem on both sides of that, right? The first one might be the person reacting. Maybe they overreact all the time, right? But the second one is you can't be wasting your time thinking about and dreading telling somebody something. That's not a place that we want to be in. And that's what the Bible tells us, right? That you've already done it. Here's what he says. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out, throw it away, right? For it is better for you to lose one of your members than your whole body to be thrown into hell. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, throw it away. For it is better than you lose one of the members than your whole body goes to hell. This is serious stuff God's saying. Right? Because you know what happens is what you focus on, your thinking, develops attitudes. I'm scared to tell my good friend Jason something, right? That's an attitude. That's an attitude that's going to lead to actions. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to tell him what he needs to hear. I'm not going to tell him what I need to do, right? Instead, I'm just going to please. I'm going to please and please and please. And you know what Jesus says? That starts paving the road to hell. You're not going to get to heaven that way. So let me, give you a famous quote. The road to hell is paved with a lot of people pleasers. It's a famous quote, right? People had good intentions, people who actually loved people in a human love, not in a godly love, right? Because when we humanly love people, we don't want them to hurt. We want all that stuff. God says, it's not my desire for you to hurt, but I'm going to let you hurt. That's a godly love because it's going to produce fruit. It's going to produce character. It's going to produce who you are. So, lust. You can lust after everything, right? You can lust after positions and fame and authority and power and money and food. You can lust over people, not in a sexual way. You just want to be somebody. You can be obsessed with somebody. You can lust over church. You can lust over all kinds of things. I want it. I want it. I want it to intimately have it. Let me close with this, right? The Bible warns us about lowercase gods. Right? We're not to serve other gods. This whole idea of lusting after, thinking about, right, bad thinking it paves the way to serving other gods, right? We get so caught up in having the right bank account. That's all we talk about. We talk to everybody about, listen, I got to do this, and we don't allow God to use our bank account because we're saving up our bank account. Do you know how many people I know that are building a bank account for God to use in the future? You think that's what God cares about in the present? Is you building up a bank account for him to use in the future. You keep pushing off God because you got to have money for him in the future. Right? Do you know that there are people who, if they just had this or this, there are people with food, with weight, right? There are people with positions. If I just get this position, then I can do this. If I just get to this weight, I can do this. If I just get to this, I can do this. And it becomes our God. That's all we talk about. Oh, let me challenge you with this. Take a good look at your Facebook stream thread. Take a good look at your texting. Take a good look at any other thing that you have that I don't know because I don't know all these things, right? Take a good look at it. What are you talking about the most on your stream? What are you talking about the most? Because what you're talking about the most or who you're talking about the most, probably you might have a lust problem. Right? Again, does your Facebook stream talk about God? Do people know that you have a desire to be with God and be godly? Or do they know that you have a desire to be in a position or have a wife or have a car or have a Bills game or I'll say Sabres game, but then Jason thinks I'm talking about him, right? Like, is that true? Like, where are you in this whole thing? So, chew on that. We'll see you next time. The word expanded. The Gospels.